For a very important date. Da 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 da. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late to interview the divine, the delectable Mia Freedman, my favourite Australian woman of all time. And the reason being is she is so phenomenally uplifting, championing of other women. She's a woman after the Trinny tribe's own heart. We love her dearly. She has been a prolific broadcaster, author, 4 books, journalist, and now she is the founder of Mamma Mia, which is a fantastic destination portal, podcasts, many podcasts, No Filter podcast, and the Mamma Mia podcasts, and she supports a lot of women's lady startups. The one and only Mia Freedman. My God, that was such
hello, my darling. How are you?
It could have gone so wrong when I was introing you. It could have been like, oh, there she was, and I'm like, you know, when you're clapping away and the last one to clap, nobody's clapping.
Like a seal. No, I'm
you
like,
put makeup
don't
on.
leave me
you
hanging.
Put makeup
I want to know
on.
Yes.
You know, I just didn't know. I mean, it's first thing in the morning here. You've had time to have a glass of wine, sit in your cupboard, look at a few outfits, think of the podcast tomorrow, and have. Is that a wall of sequins I see behind me?
I made it for you and your ladies and boys because the pressure's on to impress the Trinny tribe.
Oh
Have a look.
God.
And I've got a killer outfit that is going to be hard for you to see. So I know that you like this color on me because you said that it's good, but I have to have 2 outfits. I'm wearing something that are still the tags on. Look at this. Oh, you can't really see. Wait, I have to get back.
I don't know if I want to look at it. Hold on. Is it Zimmerman?
It is. You don't like it? It's shorts and a shirt. Wait, I've got it on.
Okay. All right. Mia, stand back a second. Stand back. Stand back. Let me see it properly.
I have to stand on a chair because I can't get all in the frame.
Yeah, you know what? I think the print is beautiful. I think, wait, I'm not saying I don't like it, woman. What I'm saying
so
is I cannot see.
Trinny.
I know, that's why you're saying that to me. Look at the Zimmerman coat that I have only worn twice. I've only worn this bloody coat twice. Okay? Now actually with the shirt,
that. That looks nice.
I know, but without the shirt, it's been testing. So
don't you think the sleeve is nice?
I think the sleeve is really pretty, and I like the gathering at the top, and I love the bra underneath. I'll tell you what it is, Mia, because I can't see your legs. Yeah. I'm just seeing a lot of volume, and you've got very good legs.
I've got my pink Converse on as well.
Yeah, just dress it down a bit.
Too hard.
Darling, it's pretty joyful. I think I love it. I'm just jealous that you can still wear shorts and I can't. Can I just actually be honest with you? Can I?
Yeah, I like shorts. I don't wear them much though.
I know, but you still can. My knees. I'll just show you how I cannot wear shorts. Okay, this is why I can't wear shorts, Mia. All right. No.
Sorry.
Because my knees talk to one another. Hang on.
Oh.
So I have this, like my mother's knee. It's like it goes, hello, Mia. Hey, Mia. It's Trinny. Hello, Trinny. How are you? Is it nice? Is the weather good today? I could even
little funny bums.
I could even like do a little like this and like this, and that could be the smiles. Okay, we can have some hair like that. Okay, and then we can go. Hi, Mia. Hi, how are you? Mia, I hear you have this incredible podcast. Will you tell everybody about it? And how did you start your career? And I want to hear more. Okay?
You don't need me. You can just interview your own knees.
I know, but I think we should just have the knees do the interview. Mia, let's be serious for a second.
Okay.
Can I first of all say, you're looking gorgeous, and I'm loving listening to you. But I just, you know, everyone knows that we will just gas on a mind a minute. So I want to have 2 seconds of serious conversation, and then we can be insane again.
Okay. So I put my makeup on before we started, because usually I put my makeup on while we're talking, and I thought I
know you did, and I put my eye makeup on before we started.
I like that.
Yeah, I put some on.
I've got Sharon. I love Sharon, by the way.
Don't we love Sharon, and also the story of Sharon?
I suspect there's a beautiful story there. I liked her in Friday Tripletting. But I love that. And then I wanted to, it was kind of my missing shade in your range, because I love a terracotta-y shade. And I used to
with
use
the
a bit of
outfit you're
truth on
wearing
my lips.
now, terracotta is very good with a bit of pink.
Yeah, I put
Mia,
a bit
darling,
of BB
can I just say,
anyway,
I have all this information on you, like, as if I don't know you, but my team put together 2 pages of information, all right? You filled 2 full pages, okay? But what I want to say, this is what I find incredible. There are some amazing things, which you have the biggest women's podcast network in the world with 108 million listens and 36 different shows. How proud are you of that?
Hugely proud, because we all started it out of, well, first it was just my iPhone on the floor. As you know, most startups start very humbly. And then we built a little shitty studio, and we went to the hardware store and got soundproofing and put it on the wall. And, you know, people, the traditional idea in radio, particularly commercial radio, is that nobody wants to hear women talking.
You're kidding. Is that an Australian thing, you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same over in other countries, but in Australia, if there's a female radio host, they've usually got to put 2 or 3 blokes with her to like calm down the estrogen. And we just thought that was bullshit. So, you know, we've got like 30 different hosts across our shows.
So can I just say, Mia, because it is like it's a radio station.
Yeah.
But you are online. So would you say you qualify as a digital radio station, or is everything a downloadable podcast? Because there is a difference in a way. There's no difference, because how we listen is so, you know, I don't listen. It's like listening to Appointment to You TV versus watching Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like listening to, it's like Netflix. Podcasts are like on demand, in the same way that you know, radio is a bit like newspapers or like broadcast TV. Yeah. But podcasts you can listen to whenever you want, whatever show you want, at whatever time you want, doing whatever you want. And the great thing about podcasts, because we started as a website, we still do have a website, obviously, that has a ton of written content on it. But podcasts are the only truly multitasking form of media, because you can't go for a walk while reading your phone. I mean, you can try, but you might fall over. You can't drive a car while looking at your phone, because that's illegal, certainly in Australia. But you can do all of those things while you're listening to a podcast. And so it just means that women are hungry for content, hungry for information. But it means that we can get, you know.
But I think also what I love is podcasts. I mean, podcasts now, you have daily shows, it'll be a podcast. But I like how instantaneous you are, because I remember a few weeks ago and I don't want to go in the details here because we might agree to differ, I don't know. But on the Meghan thing, you were like 3 girls literally had kind of rushed into a closet together and said, we got it now. Can we discuss this now? And that's what I love about the energy in your team, Mia. And that is really because of you, you know, because you instill. I remember coming to Australia and coming to your office, and I just felt this. Because at the time you had lots of people, many more people than I had working for me. And I just felt, I love this. And I think I hadn't moved on. Maybe I'd moved offices already, where I'd got into an office which felt more like yours. But I think I was on the cusp of it. And I remember just thinking, this is so exciting when you walk into this energy. Right now, how many people are in your office?
Well, you've got more than we do now. So we moved offices to a bigger office. We've got really beautiful harbour views, but we decided to do that just the week before COVID. Well, we decided to do it and then COVID hit. So we moved into this beautiful big new office, and no one was there because everybody was at home. And that was about 12 months ago. So now we've got about 90 people. We're around 90. We've been as high as about 125. Sometimes you've got to go too big and then you right size.
Yeah.
Because I think particularly when you start a business, as you would know, Trinny, sometimes you feel like every problem you throw people at it. And then that affects your P&L, and you start to go, well, that's actually, maybe there are more cost-effective ways of doing this without just hiring a bunch more people.
Yeah, or more qualified people, because I think at the beginning you want to get a lot of people, you know, who just come in and are, I mean, for us, I think what I love is there are a lot of people who started as interns at Trinny London. They're, you know, there's sort of 6 or 7 of them who now are in big positions of responsibility, and seeing them grow, Mia, is so exciting. Seeing that because they are. How often do you sometimes find it's politically incorrect? And I think you do if we call them our children for too long.
I know. I remember when I used to be the youngest person in my workplace when I worked in magazines. And now I'm, the nana. I'm like,
are you the nana? Are you the nana?
Yes.
I just want to ask that. You
yes,
are.
I'm going to be 50 this year. And, we've got this big thing going on in our office. I don't know if you do as well about, now Gen Z mocking the millennials for their skinny jeans. And the millennials are horrified because they've never been called old before by this new generation. So we've got a huge cohort. We're probably pretty mixed, actually. About a third Gen Z, a third millennial, and a third Gen X. Well, maybe a little bit less than a third Gen X. Gen X are always forgotten, aren't we?
Well, I don't know if I call myself a baby boomer or a Gen X.
Oh, no, you're Gen X.
Am I Gen X?
You're
okay,
definitely Gen X. Definitely Gen X. Your mum's a baby boomer.
My mum's a baby boomer.
Yeah.
Is my mum a baby boomer?
I think.
What does that mean, a baby boomer? Does it mean the
born
post-war
after
babies?
the Second World War? Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a baby boomer. All right, I love you too.
No.
Darling, can I ask you when like we've done quite a few interviews with women we find inspiring, of which you're one of them, during the month of March for our kind of International Women's Month. And they have always these slogans. I'm not great with the slogan, but the slogan this year is challenge for change, or challenge
for change. Yeah.
Okay, so when you look at slogans like that, first of all, I want to ask you what you think of the concept of slogans. That's what I want to start with. All right. And what do you think of this one?
I think it can be, I think they can be a little bit limiting. I'm not big on like what I call motherhood statements or inspo quotes or all of that kind of stuff. Reach for the stars and you can believe. Like, I'm a lot more practical. I think it's good to have a core purpose though. And I mean, you're very clear about the core purpose of your business, that our core purpose at Mamma Mia, which is a women's media company, is to make the world a better place for women and girls through content and through supporting businesses run by women and charities that benefit women. So I think that having a core purpose can be helpful. But I think that sometimes taglines, I don't know, it's a really interesting time at the moment in Australia because we're having a real Me Too reckoning with, a whole lot of cases of sexual assault that have happened in our parliament and in our schools and in all these different places. So women are feeling very energized and raw at the moment. There was a big women's march last week and my husband went and all of us went at Mamma Mia and we were wearing our feminist t-shirts. And I've never seen, Trinny, so many men at a women's march because we're not in lockdown and things are pretty much back to normal, even though we're only just starting vaccines here. We've got pretty much no community transmission. It's been really extraordinary how we've sort of navigated our way through. And, we feel very fortunate about that. But so we're back in protests and marches. And I know we were also very affected by what happened to Sarah in the UK, in London. Yeah. That rippled around the world. Everybody knows her name. Everybody felt there, but for the grace of God go I. So that was a real lightning rod, not just in the UK, but around the world. And I hope you all know that. I think that we see it. I believe that Britain as a whole looks at what the rest of the world is doing. I like America. I think sometimes, because maybe fewer people from America travel abroad, it's more inward looking. But I think Australia is far more outward looking, and England definitely is too. Yeah, I do. I mean, I do think, to me, this phrase of, challenge to change is about, it's even the trivial thing you're saying, like the podcast. They think they need a man to balance out the women. I mean, that's like such a vomit, please. Let me just brush you out the way to think that. So I do feel stuff like that makes me want to just totally challenge. You must feel it sometimes. I think that as a female founder, you can also be quite self-deprecating. Like I used to, when people said, "What do you do?" I used to always just be like, "Oh, I'm a journalist," which is true. I used to be a journalist, but now I own a media company. My husband and I own a media company. I run a media company, and I noticed that when I'm disparaged, often by male journalists in the press, I'm called a mummy blogger, which is just hilarious. And I'm sure, you get called
I'm
a
called
lipstick queen or something.
No, I'm like Trinny, who used to present What Not to Wear.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my favorite
Former
tagline
TV
where I go,
presenter.
oh, let's just negate the last 10 years, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know other women who were like incredibly successful restaurateurs who were called socialites, or they run businesses. And it's all that sort of stuff that is just challenge for change. It's true, because I think that there is an aspect of needing to challenge the status quo. And you and I, even just by starting our own businesses, did that, because
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone who ran a business when I started Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that we're going to make it easier and pull up other women in our wake.
How do you do that most? Because you have all these different things at Mamma Mia. So you have the lady startups, which is like my elevator pitches, but yours are thing, you know, it's that sort of similar thing. But you do a lot also, you do other ones as well. So like you do the safe on social, you have those different things on your, I was looking on the website.
Courses and stuff. So what I've realized that I like to do as a founder is I like making things. I don't really like running things once they're made. I like making things, and then I like handing them over to someone else to look after them. God knows how my children have survived. Okay. But so I've realized that you know, I like being in startup mode. So first we started Mamma Mia, then the podcast network, then Lady Startup, which has courses to help women launch or grow their own businesses, because I felt that's what I needed. And it's all kind of under this umbrella of making the world a better place for women and girls, because I'm just like, well, what are the different ways to do that? And so I'm always looking for something new, and I always just sort of follow my curiosity.
So then if you look at your company, how do you make money, Mia?
Great question. So we don't make money. Well, we make money in a couple of different ways. We make money from advertising. It's an advertising model. So people can pay to advertise to our audience either in written form. They can run ads in our podcast that we as the podcast host voice. Sometimes brands come to us and say, make us a podcast. So a bank might come and say, we want to make a podcast about whatever it happens to be. And we will they will pay us to make a podcast.
The podcast for you. Yeah,
a podcast for them. And then we run courses. So people pay to do our courses to learn how to start a business. So, you know, any business needs kind of multiple revenue streams. And then ultimately we will, you know, have diversified revenue streams so that you're safe. If the arse falls out of something, because then every media company is very challenged by Facebook and Google, because that sucks up, as you know, that's where you advertise, no doubt. You advertise in Google and Facebook, and that's where 85% of advertising marketing spend goes. So the rest of us are sort of scrambling for what remains. But yeah, we do live events, we do lots of different things.
And how do you now, I love the way, Mia, you said you hand stuff over. So then your phrase went straight to your children, all right? And I was like, okay, who did you hand them over to? But can I just talk about you as a mum, because I just found that quite funny. You have how many kids? 2, 3? Three. From what age?
23 is my eldest. I've got a daughter who's 15 and another son who's 12.
That's a big jumps.
Yes. So I had
same husband,
but we split up for 2 years in the middle of child 1 and child 2.
Can I talk about that? I just find it very interesting, because during lockdown now, we've got a lot of people who are with their partner thinking, do I want to be with them or not? You know, there's a lot of that going on, because there's been, especially in the UK, there's been a lot of like 24/7. And what's very interesting is that when you maybe decide you want to split with somebody, and not because there's somebody else or not, you think the steam's run out, and then you have the time apart, and then you realize, in fact, this has got to be in the perfect world, hasn't it? Because it's got to be, you both don't meet somebody else, you both have time to realize how much you miss each other, you both have time to maybe do a couple of dates and realize actually what you have is very special. But can you tell me, Mia, what happened to you in this? Because I'm really interested to know how you navigated it.
Yeah, I used to get very angry after we split up, anyone who told me stories of getting back with their partner that they'd split from, because that's just not what I was interested in doing. And I dated someone else, he dated everyone else. and we both went to therapy, not together, not with any of you to get together. We split our assets. We sorted custody of our son, who was about 2. We went our separate ways. We were done. And, you know, a lot of the reason that we broke up is because we got together very, very fast, and it all happened very, very fast. And what I've learned is that foundations are important in friendships, in business, and in relationships. And anything that happens really fast is probably going to fall apart really fast. And I've learned that lesson so many times in my life the hard way, because I'm like, I love things that are fast.
You want to just have it.
I love things that are fast. We moved in together like straight away. And so then when the shit goes down, and we lost a baby, I was pregnant, halfway through my pregnancy, we lost a baby the day after we got married, and he had chronic fatigue syndrome, and like the wind blew through our house, and because there were no foundations, the house fell down, because the wind will always blow through your house. And so I guess what we started doing after, you know, 2 years is that first we were friends, and then we started dating, and just took it so fucking slowly, and just saw if there was anything there, and took it so slowly.
You mean your getting back together process?
Yes. It was just like, you know, we didn't have our first kiss for ages. And I remember saying to my best friend, I'm not ready to sleep with him yet. And she's like, babe, you're still married technically, and you've already got a child together. I think that horse is bolted. And I'm like,
that's so interesting, Mia.
Yeah. I knew that would confuse me. And I just didn't want to make the same mistake I'd made before. And so for us, it's also not a done deal. Like, in some ways, all of our friends, all my friends, are getting divorced now. They're all splitting up from their long-term relationships now. I'm one of the few in my cohort that's still with Jace, because we sort of got that out of the way 20 odd years ago. 15 years ago. But it's in no way a done deal. Like, we joke that I'm his first wife and he's my first husband, because as soon as you sort of go, oh, well, that's it, then we're sorted. Like, I don't know. I always think you've got to keep choosing to be together. And it's not the right thing for everybody. Some people they have a lovely time parallel, and then it's time to go your separate ways. And that can be fine. I'm not like whoever's together the longest wins. No way. It's got to keep working. But for us, I also wonder whether working together has if you've got a finite number of years in a relationship, whether working together chews through those years faster. Yeah. But I don't know. At the same time, we're pulling in the same direction, at least. So as you know, it's so all consuming running a business. If you've got someone running a competing business or having a job,
it's very difficult. Yeah. I mean, I find it, and thank you for sharing it, Mia, because I think I do find, especially speaking to friends of mine, that, you know, either it's sort of been the best thing for them because maybe they were the kind of husband or wife or partner that, you know, their lives were so disparate. And actually it's given them time to realize how much they care about each other. But other times it's not. And I think it's a hard thing. And I think some people will come out in England of lockdown thinking, actually, I'd rather be on my own. And I just want to talk about this being on one's own bit, because there's a big fear. I remember when I made the decision to separate from Lila's dad, and there was that big fear of, you know, I didn't feel, could I be on my own? Yes, I felt, yes, I can be on my own. Can I go to sleep on my own in my own bed by myself in the house? Yeah, I can do that, you know. You just go through these phases of thinking, what can I do? And then little things like dating, I always wanted to make sure that I spent the money on getting a cab home, you know, because I just wanted to feel safe. I think there's a thing of wanting to feel safe. You know, there's all these little things.
Did you worry about dying alone?
Never even crossed my mind. I mean, never even crossed my mind. It's like that's the most random thing you could say to a woman of 49. Am I thinking about worrying about dying alone?
Yeah, right. I think that probably speaks to my anxiety and fear of death.
Well, that speaks to something, Mia. I don't know what it is. And it's like, you know, my mum, who had COVID, was in a nursing home, very difficult to visit. She didn't die alone. You know, I was with her when she died. So,
but you know, having a person, like,
having
were
a
you
person.
worried about not having a person?
No, I was more worried about, what was I worried? I'm trying to think what I was worried about. I think things had got to such a stage. And there was a
Yeah.
time, you know, when things were sort of better between us and we were really good friends, where I'm thinking, could we nearly have got back together? You know, I'm just thinking, I'm looking back, and I find it, what I tend to do, Mia, is because I've had a few painful episodes in my life, I tend to shut the door on them. I don't over-examine them. I move on, and I just move to the next stage of my life. What?
Do you have therapy?
I've had therapy when I was in my 20s a lot, in my 30s a bit. Yeah. And now I think I'm not in that decade of wanting to have therapy. Don't think I need it. Do meditation on a Friday. Feel I know myself quite well.
Yeah.
And I'm with somebody who won't let up in me being, you know, Charles can sniff out bullshit from 1,000 fucking meters, okay? And in terms of if I'm bullshitting myself or bullshitting him or, you know, whatever, he can smell that out. And so as much as, you know, he might be stinky sometimes, there is that thing that somebody who really knows these things. But I just want to go back to being on your own, because I just think for any woman out there who's maybe scared or thinks maybe I should just stay, it can be, and there's comments here, utterly empowering to make that decision and know you're okay. And the thing is, I made that decision and I was okay. I was fine. I was more than fine. And there was this moment where I had utter freedom of choice. Utter freedom of choice, from what I watched on TV at night, where I decided to go on holiday, how late I wanted to stay up, how long I sat on the loo, all this stuff, which as you go down the path of life is more and more important. There's nobody saying something else, you know, and there's something about it which is incredibly freeing.
There's something lovely about not having to compromise. I was talking to a bunch of girlfriends in a WhatsApp group, and they're all single now in their 40s and early 50s, and they were relishing about how wonderful it is to wake up and whatever mood you're in, that's your mood. So you know, when you're in,
that's yours. So what if you wake up in a shitty mood?
Then that's fine, but it's your mood. It's your shitty mood. The thing about being in a relationship is that you can wake up in a great mood, but then if your partner's in a shitty mood, that affects your mood.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. And there are so many compromises that you make within a relationship that sometimes I'll be talking to all my girlfriends who are single, and I'm sure my husband would say the same, talking to his mates who are single. And it's like, oh, imagine not having to compromise. Like, I like sleeping I like waking up to natural light. He needs everything shut. You know, all of those little things. I like to look at my phone in bed. He doesn't. And so all of those compromises you make, I remember when I was single, how much I just loved not having to compromise on anything.
So how do you compromise? Okay, I want to talk to you about, can we talk about, because you and I do a lot of work on our phone. I just want to discuss this with you. So Charles doesn't like to look at the phone that much in lying in bed. And I'm very aware that my drug of choice is lying by my side, okay?
Yes.
And also, I'm aware that sometimes, you know, he might get home early, and so he's got lots of time where he's done his own stuff, whereas I might go from, you know, I get up at 8, I work, I finish work at 7:30, 7:45 at night, I then call Lila, we have a chat, then I get my dinner. So I've had absolutely zero time in the day for myself. And then I get into bed and we watch telly, and I'm wanting to kind of see maybe who's texted me, but I sort of have this, so I do this thing. I mean, I'm sharing this with you ladies. Can I just say what stays in these 90,000 walls must stay in these 90,000 walls, okay? But I'm then like, I'll think, oh, I'll wait till he goes to loo. So he'll go to loo and I'll pick up the phone and I'll just quickly go through. And then I'll just, you know, halfway through I might say, oh, God, I suddenly need to go to the loo. Give me a minute. Take my phone and do it on the loo, because I also feel, you know, if you're lying in bed both on the phone the whole night, you're not in a relationship really. If you do it every single night, you know, where's the mutual thing you're doing in bed together, whatever those things might be. But what do you do about that if he doesn't like you looking at your phone? What do you do?
It's really hard, because I think you can leak a lot of intimacy out of your phone. You know,
sorry, say that again.
I think you can leak a lot of intimacy out through your phone.
What do you mean by that? Explain to me.
So I think that, like, I'll be lying in bed next to him and I'll be having really intense conversations with my girlfriends, like funny, sometimes 3 at once. You and I might be talking, someone else. And that's very different to reading a book. because I'm having this intense connection, not with him, not with the person lying beside me, but with all these other people through my phone. And I think that what that can do is really leak intimacy out of your relationship, out of that moment through your phone. And sometimes, but I'm the same as you, Trinny. It's like, when you're on your phone, it's like I'm in control of that. It's not my kids don't want me, my husband does, it's like, this is me time through my phone. Whether you're flicking through Instagram, I'm watching one of your videos, I'm making one of my own videos, whatever it is, I'm texting with my girlfriends, that's my time.
Yeah.
So it's really
hard. And I
think
also there's still vestiges of a dirty word attached to a phone relationship. And by that, I mean that it's like, it's unhealthy, so much screen time. But the thing is that at the moment, sorry, I'm carrying empty phone case as an example. I've got many bloody phones here. I've got 3 phones here, okay? So oh my God, there's Hannah still on the phone, by the way, just listening to our conversation. Sorry. Sorry. But, this is my connection with the outside world, because I don't see people. And so it is my only chance to kind of catch up with people. So it is a lot more than just a fucking phone. It's my ability to feel connected, to not feel lonely, all those things. And I think it is interesting how we can be a little bit delicate. When you were talking at the very beginning, Mia, about men, we've discussed this before, like when I was going into raising money, if a man knew 60% of his idea, he would go in there with 1,000% of confidence. A woman feels I need to know 100% of my idea before I can go in with 50% of my confidence. So it's like, how do we change that? So challenge for change for me is also about challenging women that if you don't know all of it, you still know a shitload more than love people around you, and go with it. So if you have an idea, if you want to go and raise money, if you want to do any of that stuff, really believe that you've done so much more homework already than half the men out there. Just,
I think
on that side.
We internalize so many things about ourselves, that it's not feminine to talk about money or to be ambitious or to be confident, that we must always be self-deprecating and apologetic. We made a video at Mamma Mia called "How Do You Tell Someone You're a Woman Without Telling Them You're a Woman?" And it was basically just a video, this whole montage of women apologizing for just everything, walking into rooms, everything, just women. We're just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We need to not apologize. We need to challenge that. Challenge ourselves.
I know. It's I think a lot of people, are agreeing with, just that sort of, Hannah's still on the phone. It's hard to not be a bad example to a child. I don't want my daughter to be too reliant, too young. My husband complains that I'm always in bed with Trinny watching videos. A lot of men say to me, my wife sleeps with you every night. And I go, I've got a lot of women sleeping with me.
So true.
Yeah, I keep my phone out of my bedroom. It's hard, but needed. I get that. And yet I couldn't do it. I just know I couldn't do it. I know I couldn't do it. But I think
I also just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it because sometimes it's like, it's my time. I choose to spend it how I want to spend it. And that phone is the same with you. It's my portal to the outside world. I don't see anyone. We're not even in lockdown. I don't see anyone.
Somebody's just saying, Claudia Schneider, men prefer women that are less smart and successful than them. Claudia, I have to say, on that one, I wouldn't say all men are like that, because I have to say what Charles likes about me is that I'm smart. What he likes about me is I'm successful. And what he likes about me is I go for it. And he has been all those things as well. And that's what Charles, and when I'm not doing those things is when I feel he least loves me. When I don't have that faith in myself, when I'm not going for it, he loses that element of respect. So it does, Claudia, depend on the man. And if a man is the kind of one who likes a woman who's less successful than him, he might then have really lovely attributes that our men don't have, Mia. But it's just, I know my man.
Maybe he's deeply insecure.
Well, I don't want to talk about Claudia's partner not knowing him.
No,
so,
I don't mean Claudia's partner. But I think also, Trinny, men internalize ideas and that aren't good for them either. They internalize ideas about the fact that they've got to be the breadwinner, they've got to be the strong ones all the time. I think that's not good for men either. Gender roles aren't good for women, and they're not good for men.
No, not good for men.
To say, hey, chill out. Let her be the breadwinner. It's pretty awesome.
Janice, this is a very good thing from Janice. I have a sorry jar. Every time I say sorry for no good reason, I put money in it.
That's so good.
That is so cool. That I love that. I really love that.
Good.
Richard Margie, have your own goddess space. Sleep in a beautiful other room 2 nights a week. Go on, you deserve it.
If you've got the space, if you've got the space, I love it.
Yeah, and the snoring. You know, I did this thing with my dad, which I just wouldn't do with Charles. But my dad always denied that he snored, okay? And he snored so much that whenever we were on holiday and in a small place, and we would hear through the walls my dad snoring, and he'd say, I don't snore at breakfast. He said, I never snore. So then one night, my brother, sister, and I took an old, it was like, this is how old it was. It was a cassette recorder. And we put in a new cassette, and we put it by his bed, and we pressed record. And so the next morning at breakfast, it was in a chalet, and it was like really thin wooden walls. The next morning at breakfast, sat down, and he was like, I said, Daddy, you kept us awake again. And then we're like, the evidence. Played it. Boom. And he was so mortified. He was. First of all, this is my father. He went, that's not me. You've done something. That's not me. And I was like, Daddy, that's you. You were snoring. That's not me. Can we talk about weight for a second? I know this is like, you know, I hadn't weighed myself for 3 years. All right. Because I used to weigh myself when I was in my 30s and I just didn't. So I hadn't weighed myself 3 years. And I got on the scales like 2 weeks ago and I was 72 kilos. All right. Which is quite heavy. And I'm tall, but all my clothes were really tight. And when I look down at my jeans, and everyone might look at me, I know how to dress so I can look svelte. But you know, when you know, you're just thinking everything's really tight around the waist and bloated. And I had just got back into that sugar run. I was like a chocolate bar like this every night with 2 punnets of raspberries. The fermentation in my stomach would have created wine. It was like powerful, pungent and bloated. And I just thought, fuck. So I then did Noom, which is this app. And I started doing it, and where you like put your food in. And so I went from like 72 to sort of 67.9 in 11 days. This is like losing 6 pounds. I thought, brilliant, everything fit. I thought, fantastic. This weekend, I just like eat tons of, I just like everything out the window. And then I weigh myself on Monday morning, I'm 69.1. So it's like, I thought, this is why one should never diet ever or go on these things.
I can't. At the minute that I try to cut something out, I become obsessed with it. So I never ever do. Yeah.
So I think I was feeling what I feel as I'm 57, because you're going to be 50, so you're 7 years behind me, is that I can't, if I want to be a well woman where I don't have inflammation in my body, which gives me opportunity to be less unwell, less secondary illnesses, then I've got to reduce sugar permanently in my system. I love chocolate and sweets and everything. So once I really emphatically know that, like I know I can't smoke, you know, when I know this stuff, then I'll get the shift. That's going well. I did have one yesterday because I was very like feeling a bit sad, but it's been going very well, and I'm there. I'm totally there.
Well done. That's a
so that feels good. That feels really good. Really good. But I know the next thing is that I can't not exercise for a week, because at 57, if you do that, you're going backwards. So literally what I know for me, if I want to stay and maintain a wellness, running up the stairs, you know, I don't jog, you run, Mia, but I walk fast, you know, I've got to do 3 times a week, I've got to do something, and I've got to get up from my desk, as we're here now, I can do this, and walk. I was at a shoot yesterday, and I just do this at a shoot, all right? And what I love is when the young girls at the shoot start copying me because they're realizing, and then I think I'm looking all right because they're thinking, let me do it too. So I did this thing, and you can all do it. Mia, you do it. Stand up.
All right, what are we doing?
So it's just like you put your leg up, just put your leg up, and you're just balancing. All right. So if you're at a shoot, if you're doing a podcast, anything, and then just go out and back and out and back. But you've got to stay balancing. So you're going to find that your stomach is, you're going to feel that tension in your stomach. But you just stay like this. So in the morning now, I brush my teeth. I just do so many things on one leg, because your leg you're standing on just needs that strength. Okay. You've got to keep still. Yeah. And you just keep those 2 hips in the same position, like you've got 2 headlights on. And you just keep
It's
doing
good for your
this. So
core.
good for your core and good for your buttocks and good for your thighs. So I've got to do that. I've got to get up every hour from my desk and I've got to move around.
Did you make this up?
And my friend called Zandy, who's my smartest, she's like my T-file head friend. She runs a biotech company in America. And she said, Trinny, you've got to keep moving. That's the thing. The most important thing, literally keep moving. And in Australia, Mia, you do that so well, all of you. We don't. Is your standing leg beginning to get a bit tired?
I swapped legs. Was I not meant to swap legs?
Well, no, you're meant to really feel it.
Oh, I got bored of that leg
now
and I
I'm on
thought
the
I
other
should
leg.
do the other leg.
Okay, now I'm on the other leg. And everyone else, do it too. Just literally do this and stay like this and do this for 5 minutes. And if you did this like 2 or 3 times a day, it's so good for everything and it's not bothersome. But balance.
No,
I
it's
want
very
to put
easy.
on my
You don't get
knickers, Mia.
sweaty.
Yeah, I want to put on my pants without holding on to anything when I'm 80.
Oh, I like that idea.
Is that
That's
a big
good
challenge?
goal.
It's
Yeah,
bold.
it's an excellent goal.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good. I like this very much. So do you have meetings like this while you're doing this?
Well, I mean, like yesterday I was at a shoot and I was just doing this. So I was looking at the photographs on the screen and then I got up and I just did this. And I just think it's good to just do it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to make a focused effort. I haven't had so many meetings, Mia, with people, you know, because we've been away. But can you feel it in your legs when you sit down?
I can feel it in my buttocks.
In your buttocks? How are your buttocks?
In my
at the moment?
buttocks.
Are your
My
buttocks well? Will you send my love to your buttocks?
They switched on, as the Pilates people say. My buttocks switched on.
Yeah, I would say my buttocks are good, but my Botox is not there anymore.
What are you doing without Botox?
Well, I'm moving my forehead for the first time in about 5 years.
Do
So
you
you ever have
they
it
look
done
like
here?
puffy candles? No, I haven't yet.
No. I mean,
I
you've
haven't
got
yet.
such
See,
good
I've got
skin.
my
You've got a
11
bit of that. Yeah, but you've got that Mediterranean skin.
I do a bit. It's quite olive.
You're very olivey.
Around when I was about in my early 40s, I was like tortured about it. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Now I'm just like, oh, fuck it. I don't think I'll do it. I might do it one day, but
Yeah.
you know.
I've done it since I was 35. And I kind of,
Yeah.
I have a very, you have a big forehead too, but it doesn't.
Massive.
Yeah, you and I have big foreheads. We're the big
How
forehead
big?
girls. Yeah, it's our
How
brains. It's our
You
brains.
know how you were talking about anti-hair loss products the other day?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So someone suggested to me the Kerastase ones. So I started using those. There's like a whole range. It's called anti-fall.
Anti-fall,
Which I
so
thought-
French. Anti-fall,
So
it won't fall. We are French. We make it stay in.
they
Okay,
don't
so-
talk about hair loss. It's like anti-fall. We do not.
How is anti-fall working for you, Sherry?
I don't know. I've used it once and then I forgot to use it again. So I better keep going.
The thing is, it's the faff of these. I don't believe anything works. But what I had done in July, no, not in July, whenever I had it done, I had some stem cells from my thigh put in my hairline. Okay.
Shut up. You did
Yeah,
not.
I did. And what I've noticed, like, because here I am receding,
Yeah.
and I went to
I
this
guess I
guy
am too.
online called Greg Williams, and we did this thing on Facebook, and he said, oh yeah, you'll be real. I was going like this, and he went, yeah, you should have a transplant. And I was like, don't want a transplant. But I've noticed now the last few weeks, because it takes months and months for those follicles to do anything, but I think this is new hair.
Wow. So
And
he injected your thighs.
No, he
into
didn't
your
inject my
hair.
thighs. This is like, I've done a film on it, which, by the way, before you all want to see it, I'm not going to show it until I know it works. But what he did is he took out some fat from my thigh. But like if you have liposuction, it would be this much. And he took out that much, okay?
Just like with a syringe.
With a syringe. I didn't even look. I didn't want to know. Then he reduced it just to get the stem cells. So he took out maybe this much, and it became this much.
That much.
Okay.
And then he squirted it in here.
He just injected it back in because it's stem cell, and stem cell are used in many forms to regrow parts of, elements. So I have done it. Okay. And we'll see. I will keep you all updated because I know lots of people have a bit of a hair moment. And I just don't know. PRP is another way of doing it, which is when they take your blood and then they take the plasma they put it in a centrifuge machine and the plasma goes to the top and they take the plasma and they put that back. And that's kind of just on the road to a stem cell-y moment of just that, you know, the purest part of the healthiest bit of you or whatever. These are all very extreme things, Mia, of which you're looking at me going,
no, I'm just fascinated. I feel like, you know, you can get maybe a placenta from someone and like rub it. I don't think that I would not be into it.
I love it. I think you could get a bit of a placenta. Can I tell you, La Prairie,
is it made
I'm
of
sure
placentas?
this is right, because La Prairie has a clinic in Switzerland, and I remember reading years ago that they have all those lovely products, which aren't this, by the way, but you will go that they will go there to have sheep's placenta injections or something. Bit mad,
like
queasy,
yeah,
very queasy.
Yeah, it feels
very
like a lot.
queasy. We were going to just have a serious discussion about,
yes,
you know, you're the ambassador for Rise Up, a charity supporting women and children fleeing domestic violence.
Oh, yeah.
You say a lot, Mia, about making life better for women and children. And I love, you know, we spent ages in the last few weeks going over what our brand values are. And it's just to make women feel they've been in touch to Trinny London and they leave feeling better about themselves. That's our one kind of thing. You put it yours very succinctly. But I love the way you talk about children as well. Very powerful. Just even saying that, you know, to add the word children in.
Because it's girls. So we use part of our profits to pay for girls' education. So we send 150 girls to school every day in some of the poorest countries in the world, because education for girls and what happens to us as girls forms how we are as women. You know, so many of we were talking before about all the ideas that we have around we're imposters and we can't be ambitious. So much of that is laid down to us when we're girls.
Yeah.
And so, it's got to start early, doesn't it?
Very powerful. That makes me think what else we should be doing.
You know, I heard something that I've never forgotten, and I bet it applies to you. A girl gets her self-confidence from her mother, but her self-esteem from her father. And I was so struck by that. And so girls, a lot of girls have, self-esteem from her father, and they're different things, self-confidence and self-esteem. And some people have neither. Some people have just one, but not the other. But there's something about self-esteem from a father or a father figure in your life. And there are so many girls who just don't have that, or they're in houses with domestic violence, or, you know, they've got fathers that either neglect them or just aren't interested. And that can have such an impact on a girl for the rest of her life.
When you say it, I think about Lila, because I think I give her self-confidence, and she doesn't have a father to give her self-esteem. So,
but she did.
She did have a father, but he died when she was 10. So I think self-esteem, I don't know at what age as a child you have self-esteem, because I look at relationships like my friend Johnny, who died, and he has really kind of 7 children, but he has 3 of his own, 1 with his current wife and 2 that he brought up. 6, but I can look at that and say he gave Lola his self-esteem, the daughter, and Serena gave her self-confidence. I can look at that and think, and I'm just looking at I think when you have kids, I think that I kind of leave my parents out of this one, because I don't think they gave me either of those 2 things.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And the thing is that sometimes you have to get it elsewhere.
Yeah. You have to get it elsewhere. Yeah. I think maybe they gave me self-confidence because of how they brought me up to be self-sufficient. So I had self-confidence. I think they gave me that self-esteem. I didn't not get, but I didn't get. You know, there was no like go to university or try this. I have it now. So somewhere along the line, most importantly, I got it. Most importantly, I got it before I had a daughter. you know, before I had a daughter that I could then pass on the right stuff to.
So true. The shit that you find yourself saying to your daughter. I remember one time saying to my daughter when some boy kicked her in the playground, I was like, oh, sometimes boys do that when they like you. It's their way of showing they like you. And I heard the words coming out of my mouth and I was just like, what am I saying?
Yeah.
You know, so many things that you realize that you pass on without even realizing it.
Yeah. Mia, as always, it was unbelievable talking to you.
I love you, my friend.
You too.
I miss you. Lots of love.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Oh, my God. I love talking to Mia. It just, you know, it's to have heartfelt conversations across the globe with somebody that Mia and I only met twice in Australia, but I knew the moment I met Mia that she was going to be a special woman in my life, and it was the way she spoke and how she communicates herself, and I immediately felt this is a woman I know I will love and cherish. And what was amazing is when I first met her, we did this podcast, a No Filter one, and it was in this kind of womb-like room. It's moved on from what she talks about of soundproofing her room, and I sat in there, and I think I'd been like running around, you know, working really hard in Australia, and it was that moment. And I sat, and it was the first moment I'd sat in a dark room with one other person only. And I sort of let go of it. And I really opened up with her. And we had this very intimate chat, which I hadn't had for ages, and hadn't spoke about some things, which I hadn't really spoken about with anybody. And I did it with me. And she has the ability to do that, to make you feel so trusting that you can tell her everything. And that is an incredibly special trait, more than a trait, part of her. So I want to just say to everybody, have a wonderful day.